Talk about last week, really.
We aren't going to talk about it? Why?
All right. Welcome to week 5. Our week 4 payout went to Brad for scoring 177 for most total points. Andrew Luck's been on fire lately. This is the second week in a row Brad won the $10 weekly payout. We had 10 trades last week. I believe it's an unofficial record. We'll go through them quickly. Last week, Andy, right after the video last Wednesday, you traded Zach Ertz for Jason Witten. How do you feel about that one?
It's kind of a to each your own. Zach Ertz, the up-and-coming tight end. Jace Witten is old and allegedly reliable, but maybe he's on the downhill slide.
Then Burt traded Rashad Jennings and Andre Williams to Leaper for Monty Ball, Jeremy Hill, and C.J. Anderson. Ball's value completely dropped since draft day.
Yes, it has. At the time, I thought that was a pretty good deal.
I agree. Todd traded Andy Dalton to Burt for T.Y. Hilton. Burt's probably done at least 8 trades this year.
That one surprised me. I thought T.Y. Hilton value was a lot more than Andy Dalton, given Andy Dalton has produced pretty highly. Last year, I think he threw for 4,000 yards, 4,000 yards. A quiet 4,000, mind you. But he usually has just as many interceptions as touchdowns. He's got a new target, though, this week. Coming back. Talking up Marvin Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Whose team is he on?
It's on my team. Who do you think's team he's on?
He is for sale.
Yeah, he's for sale. Josh.
Nobody's fighting on anyone on my team.
Josh then traded Eddie Lacy, Keenan Allen, and James Starks to Leaper for Des Bryant, Bobby Rainey, and Mike Evans, which basically it was
the same trade, wasn't it?
From
basically?
week 1, essentially, yeah. Collusion if he didn't, possibly.
As they're both 1 and 3, I think.
Yeah. And then Blake traded D'Angelo Williams to Todd for Toby Gerhart.
Right.
Your guy, Toby Gerhart.
Yeah.
And then another exciting trade. My dad traded Terrence West to Donnie for Harry Douglas. Terrence West has been traded 4 times this year, I think. Then you traded Allen Robinson, big waiver claim last week, for Alfred Blue, who you should have had all along.
Yeah.
And then probably the biggest trade.
So I paid $79 for a waiver claim that went for $1 last week.
Yeah, that money is worthless. The biggest trade, the number 1 wide receiver, Antonio Brown, was traded from Todd for the number 2 running back in Le'Veon Bell to myself. Number 1 is DeMarco, right?
No, wide receiver.
Oh. And then Wallace traded Alshon Jeffrey and the Raiders defense to me for Cordarrelle Patterson and Terrence Williams. And then today, just a little bit ago, Leaper gets back Mike Wallace from Burt for Keenan Allen.
Collusion again.
Yeah, Leaper is just getting back to his draft, basically.
It's like Leaper won't let go of his old girlfriends. He fucks them, goes find someone else, fucks them. He's like, you know what? I'll go back and fuck her again. Maybe I'll go fuck him again. He just fucks her. But in the end, he turns out fucking himself.
6 teams scored 130 points or more this week. Probably our highest scoring week of the season.
Kyle, I think if you combine my points the last 2 weeks, it still doesn't equal the points that Brad put up this week.
Yeah, 177. You scored 80 last week and
90 this week.
4 weeks in a row, Burt has yet to break 100 points. Every week I look at his team and they're studs there. I mean, he had Larry Donnell score 30 points on Thursday Night Football. You thought for sure Burt was scoring in the 140s, the production like that of a tight end, and I feel bad for him. I don't know what happened.
But that's a perfect example of a better masturbator than a better roster baiter.
Yeah. And speaking of Larry Donnell, our payout this week is most tight end points. That's a $10. So this will include if you start him in your flex. So I know Don has 2 tight ends, and I think Drew has 2 tight ends. So I'd look for Drew to get this payout, as he's probably got 2 of the top 5 tight ends right now, in Graham and Delaney Walker. So
your dad did tell me that Wallace has a really good tight end.
Yeah. So This could be the Jimmy Graham Award. Let's go to our matchups.
What about Gronk? Whatever happened with Gronk? Is he still playing?
He's still playing.
He is? Fun fact. Gronk has not had more than 45 yards in a game this year. Number 12 ranked wide receiver, behind the likes of Larry Dono, Mr. Kelsey. Matter of fact, I think Mr. Kelsey had more yards yesterday than Gronk has had all year.
Travis Kelsey was on a lot of sleeper lists this year.
Yes.
So
that's my value add on the tight ends. Just Wallace's is really tight.
Matchups this week. You play Donnie. You're 2-2. Donnie's 1-3.
Big matchup. Donnie doesn't want to go 1-4 in the division with 3 division losses. It would be, I think. Because Mickey started 0-2 in the division, then won last week in the non-division game, and a loss by Donnie's huge. So everyone trade your bye week guys to Donnie this week. So at least give me a token win. Because I'm probably not scoring more than 92 points.
That's where Justin was at last week. A lot of bye weeks. Drew at 3-1 plays my dad at 1-3. My dad probably a very unlucky 1-3 with those 3 wide receivers.
I agree. I think this is your dad's week. Your dad, I'm going with the lock of the week. He's had 3 hard luck losses. And I think Drew snuck a few wins out the last couple of weeks.
I agree. Yeah, he did. The Andy Nelson.
You are fucked, Dad.
Todd, 3-1 with the probably the best 3 running backs in the league now. He's got Asiata, Le'Veon Bell, and Marshawn Lynch.
And Lynch has already had his bye.
So, yeah.
So he's got Lynch for the next 10 weeks.
So, against Scholl at 1-3. Scholl has a good team. I feel like Breeze has underperformed.
Whispers are in the chat that Breeze is on the market.
He does have Breeze available, but I think he's going to keep him. Blake at 2-2 plays Leaper at 2-2. Blake's trying to trade Gronk from Leaper right now, but obviously I don't think they're going to deal with each other with playing each other. You don't want to make that mistake.
Oh, they play with each other enough.
It's more fun now.
But that's a.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Leaper trades Gronk to Blake today, and then on Saturday Gronk goes back to Leaper's team. Because Leaper just keeps trading for the same guys.
Whoever loses this game is probably sitting out of the playoffs right now. If Blake loses this game, that's his 3rd division loss. That's tough. So Blake probably needs this one more than Leaper. But every win counts. Josh at 1-3 plays Andy Wallace at 1-3. That's a terrible division, basically. Your division is nobody.
What do you mean that's a terrible division? I think Josh has had a hard luck. I think he's over roster baited. I think Josh has his team, realized he over roster baited, tried to get his team back, and I think he's got his team set up. He's 1-3, but I think he's a decent 1-3.
Sounds like he's going to lose Marshall.
Really?
Yeah.
Whispers
around Chicago. He's going to be rest that ankle.
Oof. And Wallace is sitting pretty with the Megatron Stafford connection, but as you saw last week, if one goes down, so does the Deacon Booze.
But Wallace he's got Terrence Williams and he's got Cordell Patterson. Patterson, 4th round pick. He was supposed to be something, but maybe he's a late bloomer, just like Jeffrey last year. This was about the same time last year where Jeffrey really emerged, actually. Bert at 1-3 plays Justin at 3-1. Justin pretty much has everybody ready to roll after a bye week. Peyton Manning coming off a bye week. Bert's still making trades, but you only need to score 90. So
91 to win.
91 to win, and you beat Bert, which sucks for Bert. But the Eagles only had 17 minutes on the field, 3 defensive touchdowns. So I wouldn't feel too bad about McCoy if I was Bert, but it does suck when you're number 1 pick. But it doesn't suck as bad as your number 1 pick being a child abuser, does it, Andy?
Well, that was Bert's number 1 pick.
You traded for him.
Yeah, my number 1 pick doesn't get the ball handed to him on 3rd and goal from the 1 and on 4th and goal from the 1 in LaShawn McCoy. That was my number 1 pick. But I did trade for Adrian Peterson.
I play who's winning between Bert and Justin, Andy?
Justin's guys are rested, and I think he's going to put up 93-plus points, so Bert might be SOL.
I'm 4-0. I play 3-1 against Brad. This is a battle for first place in our division. Brad's got Andrew Luck, who's just been killing it. 40 points the last 2 weeks, pretty much. You can't stop that.
Jamal Charles put up almost 40 last week.
And he's got Julius Thomas coming off a bye.
I think you're right for the picking right now.
No, I agree. I'm due for a
Blake.
I'm due for a loss, for sure.
Listen, you can't. The defeatist attitude. Get some bones. You got a new team. You got a new wide receiver. You've been dying to get this guy on your team, so talk him up.
I got Brown and I've got Jeffrey now. So
start flaunting your 4-0 record.
Ellington
talk
coming
some
off
smack.
bye week. Yeah.
No one else is undefeated except you.
That's very true. Everybody has a win, but not everybody has a loss. Until this week, everybody will have a loss.
Oh, that just sounds tough. Good job.
I've got Russell Wilson on Monday Night Football, so that will be my. You always have light at the end of the tunnel when you have a guy in Monday Night Football, especially if you're a leaper who 2 of the last 3 weeks wins on the last play, and Gronk scores a late touchdown. I texted him with like 7 minutes left in the game.
Monday night or Sunday night.
Yeah. I thought for sure Leaper was getting a late Gronk touchdown to win again, just a garbage time, but it didn't happen. So either way, we had 10 trades last week. I don't think we're going to top that this week. Very impressive. Blake's here in the peanut gallery.
I think the teams are starting to come into their own. I think the guys are starting to like their rosters. They're puckering up their teams a little bit tighter.
Who are the 4 teams that are making the playoffs of your division? And one of them have a winning record besides Justin and Todd.
I said Todd, Justin, Josh, and who was the other one I said?
I don't know. The 4th spot, all 4 teams. Last place is in right now. 1 and 3. Josh is in 4th place. He's at the very bottom of the standings, but 2 and 2 you are in 3rd place for the playoffs. So I mean,
I'm not scaring anybody.
This
away.
is definitely a 6 and 7 team making the playoffs in this division. I can almost guarantee it. And then out of my division,
didn't you win the division the last 3 years at 6 and 7 on your side?
I had a really good record last year. It was like 10 and 3. Lost in the Super Bowl.
You're right. You did have a good team last year.
But out of my division, I think it's going to be myself, Brad, and that last the 34th spot I think is between my dad, Blake, and Leaper. And depending what happens with Bert's team, if his ever gets going, but I think Drew's going to fall down at 3-1. He doesn't have the horses, I don't think. As of now,
he's got Jordy Nelson. Everyone wants Jordy Nelson.
And Graham, but who else does he have?
Yeah, but he can turn those 2 into 4 B-plus players.
Because Drew is the easiest person to make a deal happen with.
Well, you can get the deal. You can get him to commit to it.
How's your team with a bunch of D-plus players?
D-plus players?
D-plus.
I have half as many wins as you.
Yeah. And you have Torrey Smith as your number 1 wide receiver.
I think Decker's more of a number 1 than Torrey Smith.
Oh, well. Anyway.
Decker's handcuffed. You know your team fucking sucks.
Who plays Thursday night? Vikings-Packers?
Vikings-Packers.
So we'll see the return of Jerick McKinnon, the start of taking over Asiata's job, hopefully, for me.
No.
So, who's your...
my what?
I don't know. Who's your lock of the week this
week?
You
set down the script and you don't know what to do. You can't go off the cuff.
I quit liking it.
Carl is
yeah, too many of these.
Too many of those. That's number 2.
You were here for.
You're right. But, all right. Week 5 on their way. This is a close week. You don't want to go below 500 right now. You don't want to fall 1-4. 1-4, big uphill climb. Don't count out those tiebreakers. Those come in huge. So division wins are the tiebreaker.
You think Burt moves McCoy this week?
No.
Keeps him?
Yep.
Any big studs getting traded this week?
No.
So Drew doesn't move Jordy even though he needs to?
No. Because Jordy's got too good a matchup versus the Vikings. Vikings give up lots of points to opposing teams' number 1 wide receivers.
All right. Good luck, everybody.
See ya.